And welcome back to Afro Football. This is our evening Big Three transfer news that we're going to be doing every Tuesday, every Wednesday or Thursday. Last week we did do a video where we talked about some of the transfers that have already come into fruition right now. So we're going to start with the biggest story for today. There's been one big story, and we'd like all of you to chime in and join in where you can. And this is Orlando Pirates. Orlando Pirates has signed two players. They have officially confirmed the signing of Craig Martins and Mavena. These two players are going to be some of the. I had a discussion earlier in our earlier video, and we stated that these two players are too old. We did state that, and we've been attacked in our earlier video today, stating that why are we saying that players like Mavena are slow or Craig Martins are slow? Somebody came out and is telling us that these players are not particularly old, but they're skillful and talented and will bring the much needed experience. So the question we do have for everyone watching is, am I wrong in my assessment, in my opinion, stating that these two players who are all close to 30, one is 35, one is 30, are too old to be playing for Orlando Pirates? And the Orlando Pirates should be buying players who are actually younger and can contribute to the squad. Do let us know where you're watching us from, because this is our evening Big Three evening transfer news with Afrik Football, and would like to hear your comments. The biggest talking point right now is the two players that Orlando Pirates has confirmed to have signed this particular day. It came out around midday. We have a video that is doing very well that you should check out, where we do a deep dive and in-depth checking on these players and what these players are going to bring to the squad. So right now, here is our talking point. The question is, do you think these two players are too old to be playing for Orlando Pirates? Or do you think I was being unfair in my earlier assessment, where I stated that these two players are very old and should not be anywhere near Orlando Pirates if Orlando Pirates is going to challenge for the DStv Premiership title? I know it's very contentious. So for this conversation to be interactive, you guys really need to be dropping us a comment so that we know what is going on in the world of football. Because we have been attacked today, right? I came out and stated that a 30-year-old should be nowhere near a team as big as Orlando Pirates. But some people disagree. They're saying that a 30-year-old who has experience and can help in the defensive field should be there. One, I did speak about the fact that Shandu plays in the position this player is going to be playing. This particular Craig Martins. Marvin as well, we did speak about him in our previous video. We have two videos that do go in depth about these two players. And as we know right now, currently, there's been stated that these players have been given about a 3-year deal successfully. So let me just confirm on that news, because it was up on Twitter today. Orlando Pirates have confirmed that they have officially signed Mavena, and they've also officially signed Craig Martins. We did talk about Mavena in our last video. If you guys did come to our last live stream, I was with Mr. Wamba, who is an Orlando Pirates fan, and he did state that Kaizer Chiefs are going to sign Mavena, who is an old player, who as well, I actually had to accept that this particular player is too old to be playing for for Orlando Pirates. Sorry guys, I am a Kaizer Chiefs fan, you guys know. We do have a couple of Kaizer Chiefs story coming up in this video, but right now the biggest talking point is, do you guys think Mavena or Craig Martins are going to be a good fit in the Orlando Pirates team? I'd like to hear that. Do let me know in the comments. Drop us a comment and let us know how you feel about these two signings. As we are going to be talking about these two signings, let us move on to the next story that's going to be in this conversation. Well, the biggest story that I know all of you are here for is what Stellenbosch United have stated earlier today. They have said that I'm going to read the statement as it is right now on the screen. And they have stated that the club confirms that after consultation with Rafiq, I don't know how to pronounce his name. You guys have to give me the pronunciations, because you do know I do struggle with these South African names sometimes. And his representatives, we have accepted a transfer offer from a PSL club. Rafiq was one of the longest serving players at the club and has always been exemplary on and off the field. We sincerely thank Rafiq. So the biggest question we're going to have about Rafiq is, where is he going? I know everyone has clicked on this video thinking I'm going to say Kaizer Chiefs. I don't think that is true. I think that is false, and I think that would be lying. If we did say Rafiq is going to Kaizer Chiefs, that would be a blatant lie. I do not think this man is going to Kaizer Chiefs. Here's what I think is going to happen. He is, well, of course, Rafiq is or exemplary. He's the longest serving player, or one of the longest serving players at Stellenbosch United. For him to leave his club, most would think he's gonna probably leave his club for the money or for some more game time. I know it's been circulating in the rumors that he might be going to Orlando Pirates. No, that is false. Also, it's been circulating that he might be going to Kaizer Chiefs. I think that too is false. So the biggest question is, where do you think Rafiq is going to go if it's not Orlando Pirates, Kaizer Chiefs, Mamelodi Sundowns? I'm going to come up with a third and different analysis and say Rafiq might actually be going to Maritzburg United. Hear me out. I know this seems very far-fetched, but there might be a chance that Rafiq might be going to Maritzburg United. I think that is the logical step. If Orlando Pirates or Kaizer Chiefs do sign another player of this caliber and stature, I'm not saying anything bad about Rafiq. I think he is good in what he does, but I've noticed that Stellenbosch United has this thing of having older players play for them because of a maturity. And I don't know if maybe these older players are cheaper to keep on your basically on your roster or on your payroll. I know they've had a Zambian, Nathan Sinkala. It's surprising. Nathan Sinkala has been sidelined, or the Zambian says he's been sidelined. We've not had Nathan Sinkala playing for the Zambian national team at any point. But somehow Stellenbosch United still had him on their roster. It's the same as this Rafiq story, because we have noted that Stellenbosch United does do a weird fair bit of transfer business. And if you watched our last video, we did talk about how Stan Matthews has come out and stated that Stellenbosch United or Stellenbosch FC is the feeder club for Kaizer Chiefs. But guys, that is not going to happen here. I arguably believe, and from all the sources that I've heard, he is not going to Kaizer Chiefs or Orlando Pirates. I think he's going to reasonably be going to Maritzburg United. But I would like to hear it from you guys. Do drop us a comment and let's get interactive. The more comments we have, the easier it's going to be for us to have a conversation about these trending topics that are happening in South African football. The transfer window is almost open, but pre-transfer contracts can be signed by each of the clubs because of this FIFA World Cup. So we would like to hear from you guys. Do you think it's going to play after this transfer window closes, or when the transfer window actually finally opens? Do let us know in the comments below. And we're going to move on to one of our final last stories, and that is Stan Matthews. Stan Matthews has been making a lot of news lately. I know he is the communications and CEO manager of SuperSport United, but I think he is in the news fairly a little too much. I know sometimes we're supposed to like Stan Matthews and we were supposed to be kept informed, but I think the way he's going about his interactions, if you remember, in the case of Sipho Mbuli, last time during the last transfer window, he was very animated about the youngster leaving and going on to join Mamelodi Sundowns, or the way Kaizer Chiefs approach the youngster. I do not think as a CEO, you will never see the CEO of Manchester United, like the Glazers, coming out and basically stating and talking about players. It really does affect a particular player. It's the same way the way I feel about Amazulu. Sometimes I feel Mr. Zungu, Sandile Zungu, and the way he treats his players when they want to transfer is sort of borderline not fair and sort of, for lack of a better term, disrespectful. As a CEO of a team, I do not think it's in good order for you to be coming out ever so often and talking about a player and saying that this player particularly wants money. He wants to earn more and he's got a chance to go to Kaizer Chiefs to get more money. I think that psychologically does something to a player, and a young player for that reason, who's just trying to make it in the footballing world. Guys, would like to hear your comments. Do you think it's fair that Stan Matthews does come out ever so often and criticize this player? Sipho Mbuli was also criticized for wanting to get a move, a transfer. At the end of the day, to be honest, this is my honest thought and opinion. I think a player should want to move for a financial sense. The world of football is harsh. You could get an injury. Your career could be short because you're not doing too well as a player. But people are saying that you don't need to be a player who wants to chase the money. I remember a very good example would be Oscar of Chelsea. Oscar left Chelsea to join the Chinese team because of money. I do not fault Oscar. And in Africa, most African clubs and teams do not pay the players a lot. And I believe if you have an opportunity to secure that bag as a football player, go for it. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but you should let me know in the comments. How do you feel about coaches who are CEOs particularly, who are attacking players? It's the same way I feel about a coach who comes out and says, this player left this team just because of the money. Do tell me, who doesn't go to a particular team or go to work every day for money? If you can write it in the comment and say, I don't go to work for money, I will hands down accept your argument, and I'll say maybe Flores should not be looking to leave Supersport United for Kaizer Chiefs. Stan Matthews, of course. I think I might have a bone to pick with Stan Matthews. We've had several incidences, particularly Blom. The Blom story is still going on, and we all know what the Blom story is like. Stan Matthews has come out and stated that Blom cannot go to Supersport United because the wages he wants aren't Supersport United is type of wages. This man is basically just saying that if you play for the money, then you do not play the sport, which I arguably do not believe. I believe everyone plays football as a career and as a professional, playing in a professional league. Money should be something that you consider before you take any move. Stan Matthews himself has come out and stated that he is not a feeder club. In our last previous video that we did that is currently trending right now, we did state that Stan Matthews came out and said that Supersport United is not a feeder club for Mamelodi Sundowns. He said he looks at an opportunity, he looks at the money, he looks at how much game time the player is going to get. But it seems kind of hypocritical that Stan Matthews can come out on the inverse and say that no, this particular player, Flores, only wants to sign for Kaizer Chiefs because of the money. But he particularly stated earlier in an interview where he was being questioned of if he believes Supersport United is a feeder club for Mamelodi Sundowns. He came out and stated that no, Supersport United is not a feeder club for Mamelodi Sundowns, but we follow the money and we follow the chances of the players playing. So why is he coming out right now and attacking this youngster for actually choosing the money? Honestly speaking, I'm always going to say this, and I'm always going to say this always. I believe in African football, we do not get paid a lot. We do not get paid any equivalent to the pounds that people do get paid in the UK to have a decent living. I believe if you do get an opportunity as a football player to better your life, which means leaving the club that you're playing for, that built you, and going for a club that's going to pay you relatively better, get that money. If you guys disagree with me, you can write that in the comments that you disagree and you think football should always be about the passion. I'll give you a very good example. Patson Daka of Zambia is playing for Leicester City. He's making a lot of money. He had his wedding in Dubai just a few weeks ago. And it's going to tell you something. When you come from a place like Africa where football isn't certain, when you get to a certain age, we do try and stigmatize you. Like I have exactly been calling out Mavena and Craig Martins in our first story. I did say that these two players are slightly old. And in football, that's going to happen. If this youngster, Flores, becomes older than 27 and does nothing, and seeing that he plays in a very difficult position, he is a defender, and defenders in Africa rarely ever get a move outside the continent, and rarely they ever get a move to a better team. I'm going to say this like this. African football and the way it relates to defenders. A defender will always have a hard time to find a team abroad or anywhere else on the continent. That's the thing. That's the difference between Flores and other players. This player plays as a defender, meaning that he has a very limited opportunity on the African continent. And I believe if he can secure the bag and get that money, let him do that. It's rare that a defender is ever bought. And I believe if you're a defender in Africa and you get an opportunity to be paid by a different club who that's going to pay you better, please get that back. And this is my opinion always, guys. But I'd like to hear your opinions in the comments. And if you are enjoying this content, do remember to like and subscribe, because we are just independent creators that are trying to give you as much of the PSL news as possible. So the question that we have right now going on is Flores, his situation. Stan Matthews has come out and is criticizing this youngster and saying that the youngster is only chasing the money. But if it were you, would you not chase the money? And the thing that I brought up as the counter argument is like players rarely in the likes of Flores rarely ever get a transfer away from their team. And I think it is critically unfair for a CEO to be coming out and voicing his statements. Like he's always consistent. Stan Matthews is in the news more than the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, at this point. I believe I see Stan Matthews saying or uttering a statement every passing day, which is odd because as a CEO of a club, you ought not to be speaking about it. I know he had the communications manager's role at Supersport United, and I think, yes, that was good of him, but he has to tone it down. You can't be coming out and attacking a player in front of everybody, because one, you're souring the relationship of the player with the club. Even though this player and this youngster is very good, right now he'll be feeling done bad because all his dirty linen, the conversations he's having with his agent, the conversation his agent is having with his CEO and the transfer department of Supersport United are being drawn to us, the pundits, the fans, us as the people. We are able to see this. So if Flores decides, well, there was the news and the rumor that he was going to sign that 3.5 year deal with a contract extension. Right now, I think if this youngster has been considered to sign that, he probably should not. If I was this youngster's agent, I would definitely tell you I would not be signing that contract. Because one, my CEO is already airing my dirty linen, which is supposed to be a confidential conversation you're supposed to be having. Every transfer conversation that you have should be treated as confidential, and I don't believe a CEO should be coming out and telling us about what is going on in the transfer. We all go to work for a particular reason, and that is money. If we did not go to work for money, no one would actually be going to work every day, waking up 7 to 5. If we were in an ideal economy where you did not need to make any money, would all just be slacking and sleeping at home. But this youngster is just trying to secure his money, he's trying to get his bag, and I see nothing wrong on that front. So if you guys are agreeing with me, please like and subscribe and let us know in the comments. How do you feel about this situation? Am I in the wrong to think that Stan Matthews is doing a bad thing by airing this dirty linen? It's the same situation with Zungu of Amazulu. I do understand he is the owner and has lots of creative control over the team, but it does impair you. I remember Benny McCarthy was still coach. When you talk about players like Sipo Mbule, Benny McCarthy would come out and say that actually Sitebe, before Sitebe actually moved to Kaizer Chiefs. If you guys do remember, Sunday Lezungu did state that Sitebe is trying to move away from the club, and he tried to alienate the player and saying that as long as I'm here, he said, you're not going to play in my team. And that's the kind of thing that we are against as Afrik football. I do not believe as a CEO, as an owner of the club, you should be interfering in such talks. And when you're having a transfer talk, do not come out and start airing the dirty linen and saying, oh, this player only likes money. That is unprofessional, and I do not believe there's space for that in African football. I think it severely cripples the youngster. Like right now, Flores is the player in question. I think it will cripple this youngster's ability to play. Even if you do remain at the club, you signed a 3-year deal. You know that your CEO was bad-mouthing you in a way by stating that you are only trying to get the money. These guys are all my opinions. I think that's how I think it should be done. I think when you're having a conversation about a transfer, no one should be going out there in the world and basically stating that, no, this player wants to leave because of money. We all work for money, and I think it's severely unfair for you to be criticizing somebody because he wants to leave for money. I supported Oscar when he left Chelsea for China. I supported Asamoah Gyan when he left the Premier League for also for Saudi Arabia. I also supported Den Baba and Papi Cisse when they left Newcastle for Saudi Arabia. I believe as an African player, we don't get paid a lot. We go through a lot to get to the positions where we are recognized as good talent. And when we do get an opportunity, I believe you should take it up with both hands. And that is my sentiment on this Flores story. And I believe Stan Matthews was being unfair to this player. I believe we all work for money, and that's my belief and that's my opinion. So you guys, if you are disagreeing with me, do let me know in the comments below. So we'll backtrack a bit and have another story where we did talk about Rafiq. So most of you have come here and are asking, where is Rafiq going? My honest opinion is, I think he's going to Maritzburg United. I know we have done a video where Stan Matthews was stating that Rafiq is playing at Stellenbosch, and Stellenbosch is a feeder club for Kaizer Chiefs. But I do not believe Stellenbosch being a feeder club for Kaizer Chiefs automatically means Rafiq is going to Kaizer Chiefs. Or on the alternative, some have been saying because Orlando Pirates is signing grandpas, is signing go-go's, mbuyes, is signing the old people, the people who are in their 30s. That means they might actually be signing Rafiq. I don't believe so as well. I believe he might be going to Maritzburg United, but that's subject to you guys telling me if that is true or not. So do let me know in the comments below how you do feel about Rafiq and where he's going to be signing for. Do let me know in the comments below. And we're going to move on to our final and last story that we did talk about, which is the opener that we had as an opener. It was Marvena and Craig Martins. We have been attacked. We've been criticized for saying that these two players are old. But my honest opinion is it won't change. I think if you're going to challenge a team like Mamelodi Sundowns, there has to be a change. There has to be a big shift in the mentality. This has been said time and again. Mamelodi Sundowns is going to continue running amok and running riot on all teams in South Africa. And this being the big three transfer news, I believe Mamelodi Sundowns is just going to continue. If every time you want to sign a player in Orlando Pirates, you are looking for older players, I don't know if it's experience, if it's a maturity, but there's so many other players that we have. We have Dion Hoto there, they have the experience and the maturity. We have lots of things going on at Orlando Pirates, and I believe Orlando Pirates is currently a good squad. Okay, so I'm assuming, let me play devil's advocate for a bit here. I'm going to say this. I'm assuming Jose Rivera is signing these players as to wind down the end of the season because of how close they are to actually getting the slot in the CAF Champions League. So bringing in these players might be seen as an additional advantage because these players are going to bring something different to the squad. They're going to bring something exciting to the squad. But I believe it's not the right move. No, and hear me out. I believe there are lots of young players that Orlando Pirates could sign. Orlando Pirates could sign lots of young players who could add value and depth to the squad and maintain the position. Orlando Pirates isn't playing that bad this season. They've already won an MTN 8 and they're playing very well overall and they're playing very good football. But I believe Rivera might be trying to tap in on that experience and use that experience with Marena and Craig Martins and use those two players as a springboard for which this team can catapult themselves to stardom and basically get a CAF Champions League spot. And if all things go well, even win the league. But I think that is bad planning. And if you're going to give these particular players a deal that is longer than 1 year, or a deal that is not a loan deal, then I think you're doing a very big disservice because what happens, the way we know South African football, there might be a change of the guard and the new coach might think these players are too old. And we've seen that happen at Orlando Pirates a couple of times right now. We've seen them go from Militin Mitro Sedrovic, and now we are on Jose Rivera. I believe if a new coach comes in, this will just be collateral damage. This is just going to be players that won't have adequate playing time, and it's going to be sort of like buying players that are not useful. I think it might be one of the worst transfers for me in my mind, but I'm not the Orlando Pirates fan. We should have had Mr. Mwamba, who is the Orlando Pirates fan, and would have given a deep dive and in-depth analysis on how this is going to go, how this would go. But I personally believe these two players are a bit too old. I understand if they got one for the experience sake, and I'm like, Aibo, that's good. That's good. But two is of two older players seems like a heavy burden. I think I don't know. I don't understand. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Guys, if there is something I'm missing, do let me know in the comments. And this is our segment where we do our recap of everything that's going on in the big three in the transfer news. We do these segments on either on a Wednesday or on a Thursday, depending on how busy our schedules are. And we want these to be our new interactive platforms, our new interactive way of interacting with the fans. So do let me know where you're watching us from, and do let me know how you feel about any of the three stories that we've had today in this video. One being the two officially confirmed transfers, two being the second story being Rafiq and where people are assuming he's going, which we've said is clearly not Kaizer Chiefs or Orlando Pirates or Mamelodi Sundowns. We definitely believe it might be Maritzburg United, but do let us know in the comments below. And the third story that we did have was how I feel Stan Matthews is being unfair to the youngster Flores, who we have done an in-depth video. If you guys haven't watched any of the videos, these three stories that are covered in this video have been covered in our past three videos that we've done. So I recommend that each one of you, if you haven't watched any of our videos, we're Afrik Football, and this is what we do. We do have our interactive sessions. So we like most of you to come in and give us how you feel about this story so that we can be interactive. This is what the modern age of football is like. Football has evolved to where the fans and the creators have to be interacting, and we are bypassing that screen and saying, guys, let us have interaction. So these are the three stories, and we've done a video on each of these three stories. And we believe, personally, I still believe Stan Matthews is wrong for coming out and stating that this that Luke Flores wants to leave, and the reason is because he's been offered more money and he might earn more than he's earning right now. As I've stated, let the boy go, let the boy earn more stories. And guys, I know there's been lots of comments and critics about how we've been bringing up the transfer news. So we're trying as much as possible to give you the sources. As you can see right now, credit to Indiski Times, who are a very good paper. We're not sponsored by anyone, so we'd like a big shout out to them. They have been giving us consistent news, and we'll be breaking it down. So we're gonna be trying to bring as many of our sources, so that you guys may trust us as the content creators of choice when it comes to transfer news. So we're gonna be having these interactions where if we see a story and you guys want to see a story, we're gonna bring it up to you guys, and we can have an interaction. We can chat about this story. So right now there is another story that is developing on Twitter. Let me try and get us onto Twitter, but I'd like to hear your comments. The more you guys comment, the more we can have a running commentary or a running discussion about this player. Do you think Stan Matthews is being severely unfair to Luke Flores for wanting to leave Supersport United for Kaizer Chiefs on the very basis that he wants to earn more? The next question that you can also be commenting on is, where do you think Rafiq is going? I say he's not going to Kaizer Chiefs or Orlando Pirates. So I'd like to know, where do you think Rafiq is going to go? And lastly, our other story was the two transfers that have been confirmed by Orlando Pirates. How do you feel about them? Do you think these are quality players? And how do you rate these transfers? So that is some of the content we've had for you today. And if there are no comments right now, guys, we'll be logging off because we'd like to hear your comments. But yeah, before you do go off, so we're trying something different. We're trying something new, and we would like to hear from you guys. Are you enjoying this particular type of content? What type of content would you like to see from Afrik Football? As independent content creators, we can be very flexible. It is going to allow you to engage and interact. So right now, this is a new segment we're going to be doing, like big three transfer news with Afrik Football. We'll be doing it every either Wednesday or Thursday for consistency. So if you like such content, do let us know. Do let us know what other team you like us to cover. I know South Africa is a very big country, and yeah, lots of you guys are different fans of different teams. So do let us know what other teams you like us to cover. But we've noticed that the Kaizer Chiefs fans base is very interactive. We've noticed that the Mamelodi Sundowns fan base is quite interactive, as well as the Orlando Pirates fan base. They are all quite interactive. So I guess another question right now, as a way of just bringing an interaction in, just bear with me. I'm just going to share our screen. There's another question that I'd like all of you to answer right now who are live on the stream. And the question is simple. This is by Mickey Jr. And the question is, of the two coaches, there are two coaches right there on the screen. Which one of those two coaches would you choose? Moroccan coach or Peter Musamani? This is gonna be like an interesting segment of this page. Peter Musamani is one of Africa's best coaches, and I believe is one of the greatest to ever do it. But on the other hand, Walid as well is proven to be one of the better coaches at the World Cup. You do know these two coaches actually faced each other in the CAF Champions League this past season, and Walid ended up being the most successful because he led Wydad Casablanca to the CAF Champions League. Do you think Pizzo is clear of Walid, or do you think Walid is a better coach than Pizzo? Do let me know in the comments below, because this is our other interaction that we're going to be having for today. It's like a choice. It's like a question of, Peter Msomani has been in South Africa, has applied his trade in South Africa, is now playing in Saudi Arabia, and we've seen how great Peter Msomani has done. Peter Msomani earlier this week did come out and stated that Walid and Morocco are a very big club and country, and he believed that Walid is going to do the Lord's work, and he believes Walid might actually get to the final. So the biggest question I have for you guys is, do you think Morocco can actually make it to the finals? Do you think Morocco can actually make it to the World Cup final? Okay, so the biggest interaction right now is the Bafana story. The reason I'm pivoting to this story is that most of you have been saying on Twitter right now that Bafana is trending on Twitter because Africa might have 9 spots at the next World Cup, and you guys believe Bafana is going to go to the World Cup if Africa gets 9 spots. So the question we've had, and I had a discussion earlier with my co-content creator, and my co-content creator was stating that if Morocco does make it to the semifinals by beating their opponent in the next round, What this will essentially mean is that Africa will be able to have 10 official slots, with 11th slot being a slot that they can play in a playoff. So we all have to be back in Morocco. But the biggest issue is that if you remember back in 2015, Morocco was supposed to host an AFCON, but as Morocco, there was Ebola happening at that time. Then Morocco came out and stated that they don't want to host an AFCON because there's Ebola in Africa. And I know lots of you guys became animated and angry about that. So the Africa Cup had to be hosted back in South Africa, which makes South Africa host and play the Africa Cup. But now the question has come up is Morocco is the only African country left. And Morocco, if they do well, Africa will have 11 slots, meaning that South Africa, the Bafana Bafana, will be able to actually qualify instead of these 5-team shenanigans that have been happening. But if Africa has 11 slots in the World Cup, which is 10 confirmed slots, if Morocco does make it to the semi-final, that is, guys, well, they have to beat Portugal, that is another story initially. But if Morocco does beat Portugal, it means South Africa might have a better chance of qualifying because Africa is going to have 10 official slots, with one slot being a playoff slot that will be played in the Oceania region. How do you guys feel about that? I know there's lots of bad blood between us Southern Africans and the North Africans because they always wallop us. We always believe, and most of us, it's as an opinion, I believe they use unfair tactics like the lasers. They're always pointing lasers in our eyes. So the biggest question is, would you like to see Morocco beat Portugal and get to the semi-final, because it's going to mean South Africa will have a better chance of playing at a World Cup, or via qualification, of course, but not being the tournament host? Or do you believe it's Morocco has got no business being near the World Cup semi-final? They should go out. I know. Okay, so another story that came out today is how the Bafana Bafana fans have been against teams like Ghana. I do understand Ghana and the Bafana Bafana team have had lots of bad blood. We know that penalty was fake. We know that player did dive on the penalty. And we were happy when Ghana had a fake penalty where Portugal gave a fake penalty. But right now we're in a precarious position the precarious position is that Morocco have a chance to take out Portugal, who won against Ghana unfairly with a fake penalty. So do you believe that Morocco should win this game against Portugal, get Africa an 11th spot at the World Cup? Because right now, as it currently stands, for those who are joining us, okay, so the thing is, for all those who are joining us, right, there's this statement that if Morocco does actually beat Portugal, it means that Africa is going to have 11 slots, 10 confirmed positions, with one being a playoff slot. So do you believe if if Morocco does beat Portugal, or are you backing Morocco to beat Portugal? And if Morocco does beat Portugal, do you think Bafana Bafana is gonna qualify to a World Cup? My question is, do you think Bafana Bafana is gonna qualify to World Cup? Like, that's the biggest conversation that is going on in the world of Twitter right now, as you guys can see on the screen. So that this conversation about Bafana Bafana making the World Cup has been prompted by the fact that Morocco, if they do qualify, is going to be able to guarantee Africa 11 slots. So if Morocco makes it to their first ever, or Africa's first ever semi-final by beating Portugal, it means Africa will have 11 slots to contend for at the World Cup, 10 confirmed, and one that's going to be a playoff slot. Oh, there's a comment by Tumi Dekan, and it says, Naomi, it says Neo Maema. Yes, we I think we did cover Neo Maema in a particular video of ours, but I would like to know what context. Is it, oh, the question, he's responding to the question Afro Football has left. He says, who is your dream signing? Let us know in the comments below. And Tumi says, Neo Maema. That is a good signing, and I think I would like to see that. But what club do you support, Tumi? Do let me know in the comments below what club you support. So yeah, if you whatever club you support, do let us know in the comments below which club you support, and we'll be able to have an interaction, guys, going forward. But yeah, the question that we do have, at least I digress, is Bafana one of those contenders? So let's say, I think the starting point would be, do you guys think a 48 team World Cup is a solution. How do you feel about a 48 team World Cup? Personally, I'd have loved the World Cup to be 32 teams. And listen and hear me out. I think it's more prestigious when a World Cup has got less teams and it doesn't feel like each Jim and Jack, Tom, Dick, and Harry is able to qualify. I think if Bafana was able to qualify to the World Cup in their own capacity, without it being something where it feels like it's like a charity. It's gonna be a charitable chance for this team to qualify. I think that would be better. I believe African teams. I believe. Okay, I know the for 8 team World Cup is gonna be inclusive, but I think it's gonna take away some of the magic. I think there's going to be lots of dead weight. Not saying that there's lots of dead weight in Southern Africa, but the South America region is also going to get a bumper up. Also, Oceania and the Asian region is going to get a bump up in the amount of teams that are going to take the World Cup. And I believe that is going to make the World Cup very, for lack of a better term, weak. We're going to have lots of teams that don't qualify. I think the prestige of the World Cup is that there's only so many limited positions and the best of the best are at this tournament. I don't think a World Cup for the 8 teams is gonna be a good World Cup. I think it's just gonna be a pity World Cup, is how I'm going to term it. A World Cup with 48 teams is basically just a pity World Cup because who needs 48 teams to be at the World Cup? 32 is enough, and the way the format has been, I think Europe has shown us time and again that they are able to produce some good teams for the World Cup. And if you've been watching this World Cup that has been held in December, you actually do understand that the World Cup has felt very nice. It's felt very good because we've gotten to see the teams perform in the element. 32 teams is very good. And we are not getting fatigued right now on a 2-day break. And I think the World Cup has been going on very well. But if you are gonna be you're gonna have a 48 team World Cup, I think that's gonna bring up a lot of issues which I don't think I side with. But I would like to hear your comments. Do you think a 48 team World Cup would be a good World Cup? Personally, I do not side with the 48 team World Cup. I think it's gonna let so many mediocre teams come in. But Bafana has been trending. And the reason Bafana has been trending is because most of us, the fans, most of you South African fans, believe Bafana can make it to World Cup via direct qualification if there are 10 slots. But I think that is quite mediocre, and I believe we can do better. So I'm trying to bring up the story because Thomas Malambo did actually ask about why Bafana was trending earlier today. If you are on Twitter, and if you guys are on Twitter, do follow us. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter because that's where we're gonna be taking most of that's where we're gonna be taking most of our talking points. So if you guys are Bafana fans, would like to know. And I guess another story we'd have to talk about today is how it's how Michael Owen actually went to the Kaizer Chiefs training facility today. It's one of the stories that was a big story. They did visit because they are under Sport, so Thomas Malambo and then the co did take them to the Kaizer Chiefs village, and that's one thing that happened today. You could see that Michael Owen was very livid and excited. It was surprising to see that Michael Owen had a very good time when they did actually go to the facilities, and they were actually world-class facilities at the Kaizer Chiefs Stadium, which is a kudos to Kaizer Chiefs. I'm super proud of Kaizer Chiefs for their investments because if people like a player who's played for Manchester United, who's been Michael Owen, can come out and state that he believes the facilities at the Kaizer Chiefs Stadium, at the Kaizer Arena, have been very good, then who am I, a mere mortal, to not applaud the club? Like, I would like to know, who am I as a mere mortal would not applaud the club for their facilities? Because if an international player is hyping, well, he's hyping the Kaizer Chiefs facilities, training facilities. Who are we as mere spectators and fans to not hype the Kaizer Chiefs training facilities? Would like to hear. So this is the story I was talking about, where Thomas Malambo has said, why is Bafana trending? Bafana was trending earlier today because of the World Cup story. I've mentioned and we've been chatting about it. I'd like to hear, guys. Do you think Bafana is going to qualify for the World Cup if it is for the 8 teams? And by virtue of them qualifying because of it being for the 8 teams, don't you think that severely undermines the quality and the caliber of the tournament of the World Cup? I'd like to hear from you guys in the comments, guys. So we are going to be doing these videos every Wednesday and every Thursday, either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how busy my schedules are. And sometimes we'll pop up because this is a transfer window. So as the story develops, we're going to be popping up and we're going to be having a discussion. So you guys should remember to like and subscribe. We are just trying to get as much content out there for you guys. We're trying to recommit to creating content on Afrik football, covering South Africa's big three and other African stories. This has been Afrik football, guys. If you really like this video, I appreciate everyone who came through. I appreciate everyone who stayed by. But what I do not appreciate is how you guys did not have an interaction with us. Thank you for Tumi for the comment responding to us. We appreciate the comment. Would like all of you guys who are in the stream to chime in sometimes. A live stream is better if you guys are interacting and conversating with the content creators, because we do live streams to have as much interactions with the fans, and we appreciate each and every single one of you who has shown up to this live stream. And guys, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.